Today is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 42, Week 2.
This episode's titled Good and Guilty, and that was spoken by Hi.
Yep.
It's night 3. We're back at the Ika camp, and Romeo and Rocksroy are talking about how tough it was to do the vote out, but Rocksroy was probably most interested to make sure that they get the fire going again since they had to relinquish the flint earlier at that immunity challenge. So.
And they didn't seem to have a problem.
No, they banked the coals. They were good to go when they got back. And Romeo tells us the important thing was that they made Tori feel comfortable.
Because they're planning to get her out next.
Yeah. You're fine. You're safe. You're fine. Goodbye. Tori tells us that made her feel awful, living her dream when Zach's was crushed.
That's the game. You know you're going to have to do that.
There's something about how she said that I just didn't think was genuine at all.
Yeah.
It just didn't. Sorry. Maybe it was.
It felt like one of those.
This is what I think I should say.
This is what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah. Drea's there with a drop of sunshine. It's only going to get harder. Okay, let's cut over to the Vati tribe there on day 4. Jenny and Chanelle are out looking for food, and they come across, she says hermit crab, but it looked like one of those coconut crabs. You know, the ones that can get so gigantic?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But I would not know what kind of crab a baby was.
Yeah, it was small, but they saw food, and they scooped it up after a little bit
as they should.
Struggling. Jenny was worried about getting food in her teeth, but saying she hadn't had any, and then Viola, there's a crab.
If nothing else, some good hearty broth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, anything with flavor.
Right.
When you've had none is wonderful.
And Chanelle, it's dawning on her that while she had hoped there would be a provider in her tribe, this role seems to be landed on her.
On her, yeah.
And she didn't shy away from it. She's just like, okay, I guess it's me.
She just
I was looking for me.
expected that.
Yeah.
I guess she thought probably one of the guys would want to do that.
So we get some interesting insight into Hi here. It's kind of a test. It's one of his first survivor tests after finding out that they would not be provided any rice. He's not eating any of the crab that Chanelle boiled up.
Well, my first thought was, look, if you're going to play survivor, you have to eat. So it's only 26 days. I know this is your life, and that's great, that's fine, no problem. But you came out here to do something, and in order to do it, you have to eat. And if that's what you have to eat, you should eat it.
Pragmatic carnivore right here beside me.
That's right. Well,
or omnivore.
Sometimes I don't like meat, but I think he has to make allowances. It's the game.
It was interesting, and I enjoyed watching him work through that. I'm glad he passed that test. At least I feel like he did.
Oh, he did.
Because he wrestled with it. He had a cry moment, and Chanelle and Daniel were there to offer some comfort through what Daniel described as awkward hugs. And he reconciled needing to eat, and that's when we get the title of this episode. When he's asked how he feels after eating a little bit of crab, he said good and guilty.
I respect his struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I do. But I'm glad he made that decision because, you know, that's life or death out there. And he's already not got a lot of excess weight on him to lose.
I'm glad he passed the test, too, because he's my USB, and I did not want to see him flunk out this early.
So you had more motives.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Not hidden at all. Okay, over to Taku.
Oh, my goodness. Maryanne, loud. And Mariah tells us that she never slows down until she's asleep.
She's on 100 until she's asleep, yeah.
Yeah, that would bother me, too. It even bothers me on there with these spurts of just over the top loud. That would drive you insane.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
hate
good with
loud
any.
Oh yeah.
Not good with any of that kind of stuff.
And people being repetitive or you're not
It's a
tolerant.
look at me thing too. It's a big part of it. It's like constant look at me, look at me. It's like, yeah, we get it. You're there. Now shut up. That's my feeling.
Yes, I know you're
Nothing personal. But I agree with Lindsay. It's exhausting.
It would be. Yeah. I'm pretty tolerant of people, but that would get to me after a while, especially out there. And especially I don't sleep well at home in my own bed. I'm sure I wouldn't sleep well out there. And lack of sleep, that can get on your nerves.
Yeah, it definitely wears you down quick. Omar shares that he's a Muslim, and we get to see how that works out in the tribe. And I liked it. Maryanne was like, "I'll weave you a prayer mat," and then that was cool.
And Jonathan offers to answer questions about Christianity.
You know what I loved the most was Lindsay.
Lindsay, yeah. Well, I don't know.
I'm kind of a bad Jew. You might know more about the whole Jewish thing than me.
Yeah.
She totally cracked me up.
Honest.
I loved her.
I appreciate honesty.
Yeah, I liked the tribe was supportive, so that's good.
Yeah, no judgment.
No problems.
That's your business. So, and everybody was supportive of everyone.
I think that was probably more representative of casting's job, because they easily could have cast someone who wouldn't have been.
Well, yeah, I guess so. If they ask those kinds of questions, but anyway, I like this tribe. I really do.
Mm-hmm. They're getting the favorable spotlight for sure.
Yeah, and I so love Jonathan. I just love Jonathan now. And before the show, I thought, oh, I'm not gonna like him. Yeah, he's cute. He's got the muscles, but the beads in the hair, and it's not the beads. I don't care if he had full beads. It's it kind of looks like a rat's nest, and that look bothers me. It always has.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was my hair or your hair or his hair,
Mm-hmm.
it would still bother me, that matted look. But I've gotten over that now because I like him so much. And
Right.
I like his sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, we get more of that a little later, but we're going to jump back over to the Ika tribe there for some more insights on day 4. And Rocksroy is smoking up the fire. And Drea says that she likes it, though, because it keeps the bugs off.
Yeah, but then Drea decides to tell that she has the extra vote.
Why? Where was that coming from?
On a girls' alliance. Let's get a girls' alliance.
It must be Rocksroy, don't you think? She's like, oh, there's just no way I can work with him.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
so
no.
I got to find another way.
Romeo's insistent on keeping this, but
the thing that doesn't bode well is she didn't need to say that. They've got the 3.
Didn't.
She even said
totally
that.
Didn't.
We've got the majority if we go here. So there was nothing to be gained other than to say, look at me, look what I've already done.
Other than to get voted out, because now you have something they don't.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what happened when Swati turned around and said, we need to vote her out.
Yeah.
Because she's got power we don't have.
Tori's happy because now the target she thinks has shifted onto Drea. So we're definitely not done with Tori's story, because they've already foreshadowed or shown us that she ends up with a beware advantage at some point. So
I thought she was going to find that this week.
I did too.
She didn't,
I really thought there was going to be 2 of those, if not all 3. But because I think production's going to go out of their way to make sure those come into play earlier in the game.
I don't know. Not if Daniel has his way.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's bounce over to the Vati tribe now. Still on day 4. It's a 2-day cycle, day 4 and day 5 for this week. And Mike tells us that he's working hard but laying low, and he's been searching for hidden immunity idols. And he's talking about how hard it is to find it, how it's a needle in a haystack. And he walks up to a tree, lifts a branch, and picks one up. So it's a little contrary to your
well, they
your
make it look
declaration.
easy, but he's telling you that he's been looking a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult. So I believe him. But now he has no vote.
Right. Lost his vote.
No vote for you, Mike. And he lost his idol.
What do you think about his phrase? How's his phrase going to go over?
What was his phrase?
There is such grace in a game of soccer, it makes me cry. Something like that.
No.
I couldn't read the other two. I think we've heard the second one, which is potatoes have skins, I have skin, am I a potato, which is really bizarre. And then the third one has something to do with rabbits, but I couldn't see the whole thing.
Well, the irony of it is that he hates soccer, so
That was fun. Yeah. He's even told the kids that he coaches it's not a real sport. Jeez, Mike. Somehow that's completely in keeping with the expectations you'd have for him.
well,
But the biggest sport in the world. It's a fake sport.
I want to see a video of his kids watching this episode, just cracking up that Dad has to do that. So that's going to tickle them.
Okay, we're bouncing to the Taku tribe. Still holding on day 4. There's more shenanigans over as we watched Omar attempt a limped wrist chop of a coconut, which is driving Jonathan nuts.
It was driving me nuts. I'm like, hold it firm. Hold it firm.
Jonathan steps in and says,
Don't let
how about
the
you
machete flop around.
watch me do it, and then I think it'll be easier for you.
No, it wasn't.
And then it wasn't. No, didn't seem to be.
Well, at least Jonathan tried to help, but,
That's like two coconut goofs. I didn't mention it, but when we were at the Ika tribe, there's a moment where Romeo goes to drink from a coconut, and somehow he misses his mouth and dumps all the coconut water on the ground. So they're going for the coconut gags this week.
I think that Jonathan would liken trying to teach Omar to chop a coconut to Omar trying to teach him to do that triangle puzzle and get the 51 triangles. So he's like, I would have never got that. So, okay, he's never going to get this. All right.
Lindsay's enjoying their interaction. She tells the other ladies, I love their bro time when they're down talking by the beach. And Omar tells us that Jonathan is his meat shield and he is Jonathan's brain shield. Together they make the perfect human.
They showed that on a preview for this episode already, and every time I see it, it cracks me up. Just endears him to me.
Yeah, that's what really did it for you.
Oh, I love your sense of humor. That's perfect. That's just perfect. And then Omar tells him he didn't pee standing up until he was 22. I'm not sure I would have told that.
I don't even understand
he must have been raised by women.
How that is. How that. How you make that, that
we're
choice,
not teaching
that decision.
Him to wet on the toilet.
Yeah, is that it? Is that where it comes from?
Probably. That was my first thought was, women must have trained him. Yep, and said, no, this is how you do it. And then they never have to worry about the toilet seat. So anyway, I thought it was funny, and I admire him for being able to share whatever about himself.
Yep. Speaking of sharing, shifting gears to a more solemn note, Mariah ends up telling us about her brother. He was the first healthcare worker in the U.S. to die from COVID.
Yep, that's tragic.
And she's got a necklace with his face engraved on it that she wants to bury there on the island for closure. It gives you some more insight into her. That she explained all that in response. I think it was Lindsay's question, which was, basically what's driving you to be out here kind of deal. And so we've got the honoring her brother and the mom on vacation, and she sounds like she seriously needed a break from her kids.
Finding herself, yeah. And my thought was, well, you're going to get more rest in what you probably really need at the Ponderosa. Where you have servants who will feed you whatever you want. I don't know.
See, I'm awfully stoked about having someone in my alliance that doesn't want to win. That's not their prime motivation.
I don't believe that. If she thought she could have won, I think she
No, we're saying two different things.
Well, maybe.
Because we've seen these people come on, and historically it just seems like such a goof, but they come on without the goal of winning. And she expressed that even before the game started. That's not the most important thing.
That tells me that's somebody who doesn't think they can win. If she got far enough into the game to see that Oh, heck, I might could actually do this.
I could get a lot of use out of someone who doesn't think they can win, though.
Do you think you could? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I see your point, but I still think for her, she'll be better off at Ponderosa and get.
Let's check back
what
in
she
with the
really
Vati tribe, see what Mike's up to. Wait, hold on. He's
No,
telling people about his idol, or his beware advantage.
Well, Daniel anyway.
Oh, Jenny first. He tells Jenny, and then he tells Daniel. So there's
Oh, I missed him telling Jenny.
okay. Listen up, and I'll inform you as I do the
Okay.
recap.
All righty. Well, I was eating, so I told you had to make sure you took good notes.
Uh-huh.
I might have missed a thing or two. Obviously now.
Yeah.
I know I did. Okay, so he told Jenny first.
Yep, and he tells Daniel second about finding that beware advantage, and then he loses it, which ends up being the clip that we saw on Next Time on Survivor, where he's walking around searching.
Well, that's why he told Daniel, right? Was to get him to help him find it.
Well, no, he told Jenny and Daniel, he said, because he realized he was going to have to super depend on his social game, because he opened it and he lost his vote. And without a vote, he needed a social game. So he went in search of his alliance partner, Jenny, and then he also reached out to Daniel.
I'm not sure that's enough to qualify as a good social game.
Nobody said it was. He just said,
No,
he said that's
my opinion.
that's what I have to work with. I've lost my vote, so I need to work
Yep.
on
Yep.
the social game, and that was one way he thought he could connect and possibly get some help. Anyway, they end up finding it again. I think it was in the place where he first said it wasn't there because he didn't dig deep enough for it.
Then Daniel says, I'll help him figure out how to play this. And Daniel's loving it because he feels like he has all the knowledge, but he doesn't have any risk. He doesn't lose his vote.
You know who won some huge Probst brownie points with
Who?
this episode? That would be Daniel, where he says, Jeff Probst had such a good idea with this beware advantage. I love it. Oh. And so he promptly shares that with his alliance partner, Chanelle.
Yeah. How are we going to get him not to say it?
Yeah, we want this thing to never activate. We either vote him out, which will guarantee that the three phrases never get said together, or we somehow convince him not to say the phrase. And that certainly seems to be good with Mike right now for this episode.
Or we
He
hide it
agrees to
from
that.
him and make him think he lost it.
Maybe jumping ahead a little.
Well, that's just my interpretation of what happens next on. It's not a given.
Okay.
All right, immunity challenge.
Immunity reward challenge. It's a combo.
You got the 3 callers.
Maryanne is devastated. Her potential crush has been voted out. So we get a little more Maryanne moment here.
Alrighty then. I don't know. I wouldn't see someone like Zach. He seems too quiet for Maryanne. But maybe
That's
a
definitely
quiet
the balance.
guy will let her talk a lot. I don't know. That seems odd. Though she said it wasn't working.
Her particular crush type.
Yes.
The guys that she's drawn
Her
to.
crush type
Yeah.
wasn't working. So maybe look towards something else.
Did you notice Omar held the idol? He didn't let Probst take it initially, so it yanked Probst back.
Yes. And Jeff gave him a little.
Okay, how's the challenge work? You were about to say?
I was.
Yep.
We have 3 callers.
It's a classic blindfold challenge. Yep.
Daniel is the one that sits out. Everybody else is blindfolded, and the caller gets to tell them where to go and what to do if they can hear them.
So for Ika, the caller is Drea. For Taku, it's Jonathan. And for Vita, it's Lydia.
I wouldn't have necessarily thought Lydia.
No, but it turns out she's really good at it.
Yeah, and Drea
it's-
was too.
And it's Jonathan's the struggler.
Yeah, Jonathan, his voice, you'd think he'd have a deep voice, but man, I would have gone with Maryanne.
It didn't carry the way Maryanne's could.
Yeah. He probably thought it would take him longer to dig under he'd have to dig more to get under those.
It was just sawdust, though.
I know, but still, he's
not a
bigger.
problem.
He's got to have a bigger space. Takes a little bit longer.
No, I think they really thought his voice was going to work, but
Yeah.
he ends up struggling a bit.
Yeah, he does.
But they actually end up being first to get to the puzzle that they're going to solve after they collect the 3 puzzle pieces from the obstacle course at the 3 different stations. And so he leads them to the puzzle, and he starts describing to the 2 blindfolded players how to complete the puzzle. So only the caller can see it. I like Drea telling when she was giving instructions, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. That's the first time I think we've heard someone call for a shimmy.
Shimmy, shimmy, stop.
Yeah.
Go forward.
Yeah.
It worked.
That worked, yeah.
I thought, oh, I like that.
Vati was in last, even though it looked like Lydia was doing a pretty good job calling them back. She had some expletives in some of her descriptions for how to return to the mat, but it was also working. So they all 3 end up working on the puzzle about even, I think.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
roughly
Green was
even.
right behind the other 2. Then passed them, which doesn't surprise me. We had both thought that Blue would lose again just because we didn't think they were, as a tribe, gelling together, united. And so we didn't think they'd do that well. So we chose them to lose. And we both chose Swati to go because I know they were targeting Tori, but because we had seen the next on Survivor and they were Swati was the one saying to Tori we should get rid of Drea. We thought maybe they got upset with her during the challenge because we saw she was the caller, and that they were that Tori was gonna jump on board and tell Rocksroy that Drea wanted him out and all this stuff. Anyway, they were.
It's a classic case of over-guessing how something's going to play out.
And then we thought, oh no, Tori's going to use it to get Swati voted out because she'll tell them she's wanting to target you. And so she'll get everybody on her side. And anyway, that was our thinking on it. But we were wrong, as usual.
Okay, so Vati ends up finishing first, and then Ika actually got second. So Vati wins the larger fishing kit. It'll be interesting to see if Chanelle can really deliver in that provider role with all that additional fishing gear. And I don't know. I kind of don't expect anyone at Ika to do anything with the smaller fishing kit, but let's see.
Well,
and Taku,
we know Hai's not used to fishing.
Taku is going to go to tribal council.
Daniel, I don't see him going out with his shoulder. He probably could, but might, but yeah.
Well, he'll talk a lot about how much he's going to catch, yeah, but it might just be Chanelle and Jenny pulling it in.
Yep. Well,
it's going to be fun to see. I hope we get to see some of that. It isn't often the case because most of the time the fishing gear doesn't really yield a whole lot.
Who's going to fish on Ika?
Drea. Oh, Rocksroy. Rocksroy will talk a lot about it, but Drea will probably catch something.
You don't think Romeo would go out? I don't know that Rocksroy swims that well after the next on, but
You don't have to swim to fish. You can fish from the bank.
Yeah, but not with the spear.
Okay, so Taku loses. They're going to tribal council, and Ika gets their flint back, and Taku gives their flint up. And Maryanne tells us this is like the worst first date ever. Okay, so we're back at the Taku camp. The challenge was day 5. So challenge and tribal councils on day 5. Jonathan and Omar are talking and trying to decide: are we going to vote out Mariah, or are we going to vote out Maryanne?
And they list reasons for both. But the bottom line is I think they are more entertained by Maryanne. They don't seem to. It was the ladies that complained about, her going on and on and on, and getting, a little much at times. But the guys seemed to be humored, so didn't seem to bother them as much. And this is where I started to get very nervous because I had Maryanne safe.
Yeah, you were getting a
Because
bit
I
anxious.
thought, okay, here, I want to get some of the people that I think could be in danger. And I thought, well, surely they'll take Mariah out first.
Mariah says she's
Yeah,
voting
they
for
will.
Maryanne. Maryanne says she's voting for Mariah. And Mariah also says that
Then
she will be
Lindsay.
taking her shot in the dark.
Then Lindsay's talking about Maryanne and even Jonathan and Omar. And I'm like, oh, no.
Maryanne's anxious because she may not have a vote when she's going to find out how that plays out when she
Yep,
gets there,
yep.
because she did the risk a vote.
I was, and well, we know she's got it, but she didn't. So,
She got busy looking for an idol and was promptly busted by Lindsay and Mariah.
yeah. Mariah was a couple times kind of rolling her eyes a bit at things
Uh-huh.
Maryanne was doing. So, it was kind of half eye roll.
Yeah. I kind of got to think everybody was getting some eye roll action off of her nonstop banter.
Yep. Anyway, I was not confident about who was going to be voted out when they went into tribal. So the struggle was more, I think. I thought Lindsay had made up her mind. The struggle was more between Jonathan and Omar. So, tribal council. Maryanne, did you notice she almost dropped her torch?
Mm-hmm.
And I really wonder, I kept thinking, no, Maryanne be better in challenges and she's got so much energy. But Mariah was pointing out how she got very flustered
Mm-hmm.
and that could cost them.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much
She was
of that
struggling
is-
a little bit in that blindfold challenge.
Yeah.
When they were unraveling the rope, and then she got all caught up in the rope, and they couldn't find the actual puzzle pieces that were at the end of the roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely got a
Well,
little
you
panicky
noticed
there.
Lindsay nor Mariah paired with her. So that was Omar.
Some classic lines at Tribal Council. Omar says it's like family. It's tough voting somebody out. And Mariah talks about how they had shared a lot together.
That she knows all their stories. Prope's like, well, how you going to not come back here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You need a strong tribe. And Lindsay said, well, we'll make the best decision we can. And
I like that Jonathan was talking about there are all kinds of strengths. So
Yeah,
they can be represented in
And
all
that's
these
true.
different facets. Yeah.
that is true. But Maryanne starts rambling. I'm like, Maryanne, shut up. You're going to cost me a point. They're going to vote you out just because you won't shut up at tribal council.
It's purely selfish reasons there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% about me and my points.
Uh-huh.
So, but I was just
What'd you
like,
think when
shut
Maryanne
up.
said that she just realized she was playing Survivor when they came into Tribal Council?
Yeah, that was bizarre.
And then she smartly made a plea, don't send me to Zach yet.
Yeah. Well, I do think that walking into tribal council for everybody seems to be, especially fans, that's a big moment for you walk into tribal
Sure.
council
It's
for the
iconic.
first time and
Yeah.
see the set, and it's like, oh, I'm here.
Hopefully at the
Oh
merge.
no, I'm here.
Yeah.
This is real. I could go home. So I guess that does make it more real. But
Do you think any of Mariah's talk about how she was on a journey to find herself, that she needed to stop being a mom, that she needed to put herself first, you think that can backfire on a mom?
absolutely, I'd be thinking, you're going to put yourself first. That means over me too. I was kind of thinking me and you, but if you're going to put yourself first, which everybody knows you should put yourself first.
But I'm kind of coming at it from a different angle, like a more
Okay.
general, could you end up catching some mom resentment if you're emphasizing how much you need to stop being a mom, because
Oh,
the
you
kids
mean
always
from
want
her
the mom.
children?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
well,
not
yeah.
from her children. No, from
okay.
from her castmates. That could cause
Well,
them to
it
look at her in a
It just
different light.
depends on their circumstances.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, sure it could. You know.
It gave me a little pause. I thought, I don't know if that may not work to your advantage. I know you like to share, but you could end up causing people, you could like trigger something, some mom sentiment that you hadn't anticipated. You were just talking about yourself, but anyway.
Well, like I said, I thought she'd be much better off with what she said her goals were to be at Ponderosa, and she had plenty of time then to devote to herself and to do the burying on the beach, and she's still there.
Besides, if they sent Maryanne and she got shot down again, that would be awfully rough time at Ponderosa.
Not
So maybe
ready to go be with Zach alone.
They settled that based on that basis. Who's going to fare better at Ponderosa?
Yeah, I don't know what their decision was, but
Jonathan was pretty clear. He loves everybody, but there's a game to be played, and that was good enough for Probst. It's time to vote. And Mariah plays her shot in the dark, and once again, it does not pay off.
were you surprised that she played her shot in the dark?
No, she had told us she was taking it with her. So
Okay.
that was certainly on the table as they headed to tribal council. Not surprised at all.
Well, they had asked.
It was unanimous. Yeah, they were trying to prevent it from happening, but you can't do that because it seemed like both ladies were pretty clear. It was either me or her. They both had said the same thing.
And if she had been safe, they'd had to revote, right?
So, unanimous vote for, yes, that's right. Mariah is out.
But Maryanne then has an extra vote.
Yeah, and we think, or at least I think,
So
she's
she
probably
didn't have
headed
to go home.
headed to a Beware advantage too. I think it might be her. I think she's the third one. I think Tori's the second and Maryanne's the third. Just because it kind of sounded like Maryanne's voice reading the potato clue when Tori was holding it.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. But like I said, if there'd been a revote, Maryanne would have to put she could put 2 votes in on somebody, because otherwise it would be her. And so I'm not sure who she'd put it on, but to save herself, she could have saved herself that way. Because then it would be, well, no, wait a minute. Not if the other 3 voted her.
Right.
It wouldn't work. That's right.
So not even that would have helped.
Yeah, not even that would have helped. She would have gone home.
What did you think about the overall episode? Did you enjoy it?
I did.
I think it gave us some good insights. Maybe not so much into the social game, but just into some of the castaways' character.
Yeah.
So
I didn't feel as last week with the 2 hours. It just felt like it went so fast and furious with all the information and da. And I didn't feel that way this week. Did you?
no, I mean it was a lot shorter. I was certainly would have loved to have had more, but it was good. I thought the mix of the edit was good. Well, the insights and the fun and the different aspects.
We always feel that way.
How people are being perceived. I guess that is the aspect of the social game. But
yeah.
Yep. So I enjoyed it.
I thought it was pretty well rounded. I enjoyed it. So.
I was surprised that the Blue Tribe that Ika didn't lose. So good on them.
Yep, we both were, because I just thought.
So now we're down to 4. In challenges going forward.
Originally, when you saw Jonathan was calling, you said, well, I don't know if he's any good at puzzles. How's that going to work? So at first
wish I'd
we
gone
thought
with
they
that,
were going to leave. And but then you started talking about, hey, this and this. And I agreed. I was totally there. I thought, I just don't think Blue's going to gel well enough to get along, maybe. But we were wrong.
Yep, unfortunate for the fantasy league. But Maryanne stayed in, so you didn't lose that point.
Oh, yeah, at least I didn't lose another point.
Next time on Survivor, Omar and Maryanne, OMG. And then Maryanne says, I got bait and switched. You got any idea what that is? What did she get faked out on? In marketing, that's when they say that you're going to get A and you show up and they try to sell you B.
If you're correct, maybe she did find the Beware advantage, and that's why she feels she got baited and switched.
That would be reasonable, right? Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you for connecting the dots for me.
That's
a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Which we know nothing about.
Yeah.
Okay, and Daniel and Mike, I gave you the whole thing. This is where my theory came up. He said, I gave you the whole thing, and Mike's like, I don't have it.
The idol is missing.
The idol's missing. And I thought, Daniel.
You think Daniel could hide it and that would be okay?
He hid it and convinced Mike he gave it back to him, and he lost it again. where'd you put it? And that's how he's going to keep him from saying it, because he can't remember what the verse
So
was.
we might indeed be headed for another scenario where the beware advantage doesn't pay off at all.
Though we do know that someone last season kind of flubbed the line, and they let it go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it'll work long term, but it might.
In the next clip, in the next time on Survivor, we see Rocksroy's in trouble and he's calling for help. This is that water challenge that was in the little sequence where you could see Jonathan and Lindsay in it previously with that ladder.
Run too far away. What do you think Mike was talking about when he said, "I almost stroked out right there"?
Because he didn't have it. I mean, it would make you think that he finds it again.
No, it doesn't make me think that, but I'm not sure. That seemed
Well, you've been shown
unrelated,
that exact
but,
sequence
I don't know.
previously, so okay.
I have.
Moving
I
on.
remember hearing him say that.
Rocksroy's in trouble.
He is.
He's struggling.
I need help, he says. And he's in the water with the ladder, his head between the ladder.
Yeah.
And he's struggling, and you can see that. And just before that happened, I think it was Drea yelled, big wave
Yeah.
coming. And then Jeff says, hey, both tribes.
Which, hold on.
Both.
Why two?
Why both?
Yeah.
And
Has
not
one tribe finished?
all three tribes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I think a tribe has
our
finished,
assumption.
right? Yeah.
One must have had already be out of the water.
Yep.
They're past that part. But it sounds like he's going to call a halt.
Yeah, never done this in the history of Survivor.
Because of the waves in the water, maybe.
It got too dangerous to be in.
Yeah, and that they're struggling so much to do the challenge.
Yeah,
so
they've never had a water challenge get that far away from them. Because it didn't look like Rocksroy was the only one struggling. You could see Tori.
Oh no, they
struggling
all looked
too.
like they were struggling.
Yeah.
And
Romeo's sitting out, so he's not having to do anything because only 4 people can compete in challenges now. That Taku's down to 4.
But it was Jonathan and Lindsay we saw.
They seem to be doing fine.
In the preview thing that they were doing it, and they seemed to be going up. Lindsay seemed to be going up the ladder.
Right.
So maybe it was the other 2 tribes that were a little bit behind.
Ika and Vati. They don't have anyone as big as Jonathan to help them manage on
that
deep
Jeff
water
says,
and the waves.
They've never done this in the history of Survivor. So we'll find out next week what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And we do see Romeo sits out of the challenge.
Okay, how about a JSFL update?
I can do that. There are 11 players tied in first place with 10 points. 6 people lost their USB. 18 people earned a vote-off point. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
65 people lost a safe point. And as far as the side challenge, the 9 players there, Jeremiah is in first place with 10 points. With 9 points, Drew, 8, Justin, Laurel, and Robert, 7, Cold Mike, Parker, Rebecca, and Stacy.
All right.
In the basement.
In the basement.
That's it.
Good deal.
So anything else that you wanted to highlight, or I think we kind of covered things, but or that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, of course you want to know when there's Survivor history at hand, what's going on there.
Yep. Well, we only have a week to find out, so.
Yeah, and I hope they're all okay. It did look like the water was pretty choppy. That can certainly be scary when it gets away from you, and when you're holding, that looked like a metal ladder that was wrapped in tape or cloth, so.
Well,
it was goofy the way Rocksroy ends up with his head through the rungs.
Nobody looked like they were in imminent danger, so I don't
he
think
looked
there's
pretty
any.
Panicked.
I know he was panicked, but I don't think he was in imminent danger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were trying to help him. That's what they were. Why Tori was behind him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think they were trying to help him with the ladder, but in other words, I don't think anybody gets hurt or injured.
Yeah, certainly we hope not. Well, we're looking forward to hearing what you thought about this episode. The voicemail lines 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. The email Joanne and Stacy Show at gmail.com. Feedback's due Saturday noon Pacific time, and the time has changed for us here in the States. So make sure to ask Google what time is noon Pacific time.
That's right.
If you're trying to balance your time on a Saturday morning. But the sooner you can get those in, the easier it is to get the show together. And that worked out great last week. We had, what was it? It was like 7 of them, I think, were in by Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it helps. The sooner you can get them in and keep it in that 3-minute range.
Saturday noon for us is already early Sunday morning for them, but
for some people, yeah.
In Australia.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we look forward to hearing what you thought about week 2 and your thoughts and predictions about what we can look forward to next. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, I'm good.
Have a good one.